Morning. It's been a while since I've done a live video. Quite frankly, I was playing golf a lot the last 3 days. I was in a 3-day golf tournament at my friend's club at Mountain Gate in Los Angeles, which was great. And I played in a Corona Chamber golf tournament yesterday. So I wanted to get back and do a video. And I had a meeting with a client of mine this morning, and it really inspired me to do this video this morning. And the whole idea is about how do you deal with the situation when you are afraid of your gifts and your talents, and you hide your gifts, your talents, and uniqueness. Now, what does that mean? That means that there's really two strange phenomena that happen. Number one, when you're thinking about doing something in your life, whether it's writing a book or opening a business or anything that is different than what you are currently doing, sometimes there's this fear of doing it, and so we hold back. And sometimes we hide our uniqueness, we hide our difference, we hide these mindsets that we have in our minds because they might be different than what other people think. They might be unique, and you go, who am I to do it? Am I worthy? And what I want to do today is talk to you about if you ever had a feeling of, number one, you are afraid to unleash your gifts and talents onto the world, or you hide your gifts and talents, or your uniqueness, either before you get started on something, or let's say you do achieve something. Let's say that you do write that book or you do open that business, and we think sometimes we're supposed to feel this sense of euphoria, like everything is perfect and you feel fulfilled, but oftentimes you're left with this empty feeling in your heart and your mind, and you're wondering, why is that? And what I want to do is talk to you about how do you address that, and what can you do to unleash your gifts and talents and your uniqueness, and not hide it, not be afraid of who you are, not be afraid to express your ideas, not be afraid to be who you are in this world. And let me give you a few scenarios as to why this subject is so important. So number one, my daughter Alexis plays lacrosse, and as you all know, she got really good really fast. And I remember I was watching her at practice one day, and she was one of the fastest girls out there, but they were doing these two-person races to get the ball, and the coach would throw the ball out and they'd have to run to get the ball. What I thought was interesting was that Alexis, after a couple times beating the other girl and getting the ball fast, she started to hold back. She started to pull back and wasn't being as aggressive as she could be. And I saw her letting other girls win. And so when practice finished and she got in the car, I said, "Sweetheart," I said, "why are you letting other girls beat you? Why aren't you running full speed after the ball?" And she said, "Dad," she goes, "because I feel bad when other people, when I beat other people, and I don't want them to feel bad." And so I had to explain to her that, look, you have gifts, you have talents, and you're given those gifts and talents to use them, to unleash them. And by you holding back, number one, you're not being who you are, but number two, you're not helping other people because you're not helping them to know the level that they can get to. And the other thing that's really important about that is that everybody has their own unique gifts and talents. For example, I love to write, but I can barely change a light bulb. So I am not handy whatsoever. So I had to explain to her that your gift might be lacrosse. That's your gift. That's your talent. But if you were to play soccer, the girl that you beat at lacrosse could beat you at soccer because that's her gift and that's her talent. And so you have to own your gifts, own your talents, be who you are, and don't hold back. Don't be afraid of who you are. Don't hide your uniqueness. Don't hide your gifts. Another example is that I met with a client of mine this morning who has a tremendous product, and actually I have it right here. It's called Darby's English Toffee, and it's a tremendous product, and here it is right here. You see that piece missing? That's because I took a big chunk out of it. Well, she had a great idea years ago of just creating toffee because it was her passion, and she loved doing it. And then, as luck would have it, she ended up turning that into a business. But we met today, and we talked about the idea that for whatever reason, she's holding back from really sharing the fact that she's a tremendous toffee maker with the world, holding back with the fact that there's a tremendous value in what she does because she's afraid of really unleashing everything that she feels about her product into the world because she's afraid about the cost of it and what people might think about the cost or the price. And so we had a good talk this morning about how do you go from being afraid to be who you are, hiding the fact that you have these gifts and talents, and how do you start to unleash them to the world. So I'm going to share with you a few things that we talked about this morning. And before I start there, I want to give you one more example, right? You all know that I've written 3 books. Well, the first book took me 6 years to write, and a big reason why it took me so long to write it was because I was afraid at what other people might think when I release this book, what people might say, the criticism I might get. And so as creative and as talented as I was, I held back and I was afraid to unleash it to the world. And then when I actually did unleash it to the world, there was still this hesitancy to really share it, because you go through these thoughts of, am I worthy to do it? Should I do it? What will other people think? Now I've gotten over that, and I'll give you some reasons as to how I was able to do that. But if you're going through a situation right now where you have a gift, you have a talent, and you're not sharing it, you're not unleashing it, you're hiding it, or you might be presenting it, but you're not going gangbusters, you're not really going for it, you're not really putting it out there, and you know that, then what I want to do is give you a few things you could think about to help you unleash your gifts and talents and to stop being afraid, stop hiding them, and going for what you know you're supposed to go for in your life. The first thing is to understand that you are worthy. And sometimes we question ourselves. Who am I to do something? Who am I to write a book? Who am I to do a Facebook Live video? Who am I to talk to people about their gifts and talents? But here's the deal. I want you to change your perspective on that. And I want you to think about it this way. Who are you not to? Who are you not to share your gifts with the world? Who are you not to share your talents with the world? Who are you not to do the things you're put on this world to do? So change your perspective on that, because you were given these thoughts and these ideas for a reason, and that reason is because you're supposed to share them. You're supposed to let other people know who you are. You're supposed to be a bridge for other people that may be going through things that you've gone through because you weren't afraid to be who you are. So I want you to get away from thinking, am I worthy, to thinking, who am I not to be worthy? Who am I not to do it? So that's the first thing I want you to think about. The second thing is, there's a tremendous value in what you do. Just like with my friend who produces this, toffee right here, right? And this is just an example. We all have examples. There's things we produce. But here's the deal. She was concerned about what people we worried about the price of it, even though it's really not that much money at all. And so she was holding back, and the way she was talking about it wasn't really going gangbusters and letting people know it's one of the greatest toffees in the world. And so here's the deal. She was afraid to really sell it because of a concern about the perception of it. And here's what I want to share with you and why I wanted to present this product today. Because Mother's Day was just a couple weeks ago. And I want you to really think about this for a second. I talk to my mother all the time. Matter of fact, we spoke like 10 minutes ago. And she's down in San Diego. I forgot to get her Mother's Day gift. And so I fortunately knew, Debbie, who's owner of Darby's Toffee. And I, bought a box and I was going to ship it to my mom. Well, I got busy, forgot to ship it. I know we've been there before. So Alexis and I got in the car and drove down Sunday night to surprise my mom, or Saturday night to surprise my mom Sunday morning to hand her this toffee. And what I had to explain to Debbie, the creator of this toffee, and what I want to explain to all of you, is that the money that exchanged hands between she and I for the toffee is absolutely irrelevant to me being able to give my mother something to show her that her son cares about her. That is priceless. I would pay $1 million to see a smile on my mom's face, for her to know that her son really appreciates her, for her to feel appreciated. And so whatever idea you have, whatever gift or talent that you have, if you're afraid about what the value is and will people pay for it and all those types of things, forget about all that. Forget about the money, forget about the investment. Think about the end result. The end result is that you're changing someone's life. You're making a difference in someone's life. You are helping a son and his mother to connect. You are helping a customer feel valued because of the business that they gave you. So that's another reason why I don't want you to hide your uniqueness or hide your gifts. Unleash them, because there's so much value in what you're providing for the person that's going to take your product and take your service and do something with it long term. And that's why I'm so passionate about this message today. And so what I want you to do is, once again, if you're afraid of your uniqueness, you're unique, you're different, you have talents. If you have certain gifts, if you have certain talents, or you have certain ideas about what you want to do with creating something, whether it's a book or writing a play or any, developing a game or an app or whatever the case may be, and you know that there's this fear, you're hesitating, you're not unleashing it, you're nervous about it, Just think about the things we talked about today. Number one, remember, you are worthy. Don't ever think you're not worthy. You are worthy. You know why you're worthy? Because it wouldn't have entered your mind or your heart or your spirit or your soul if you weren't worthy. Things don't come into your life, into your heart, if you're not worthy. So you are worthy. And I want you to move away from who am I to do something to who are you not to do it? Who are you not to be unique in this world? Who are you not to share your gifts with this world? Who are you not to share your talents with the world? And remember, everybody has their own unique gift or talent. Don't worry about what other people have. Don't worry about what they're doing. That's what they do. You do what you do. You be who you are. You take ownership and pride in yourself, and you unleash your gifts and your talents. Obviously, I'm making the assumption that we're all humble and have good intentions, which I know we all do. But if that's the case, then you should never hold back from being the person you're put on this earth to do, and never hold back from doing what you're supposed to do. The other thing is this: there's so much value in what you do. And sometimes we forget the fact that, we think about the money it's going to cost to do something. We think about, will somebody pay for it, or how much will they pay, and you're nervous about asking for, somebody to pay for something. Forget about all that, because remember, if you change someone's life, if you change someone's business, if you help a son connect with his mother like I was able to do when I bought the toffee and gave it to my mother, that is absolutely priceless. And sometimes we get so caught up in how much it costs. And people spend $8 on a cup of coffee. So you know what? So people spend $30 in a movie when they take somebody. So forget about all that cost. Don't worry about that. Think about the end user. Think about the lives you're going to change. Think about the things you're going to do when you unleash your gifts and talents, and how it's going to benefit other people. And I'll share one final story before I wrap up, because I like to use myself as an example and be a bridge for other people, because I don't say anything or give out any ideas that I haven't gone through myself, or that I'm not going through, because I believe in being real with people. I believe that you shouldn't talk about something if you haven't had personal experience with it. So everything I'm telling you are things I've gone through. So let me share with you one final point, and that is, I mentioned earlier that it took me 7 years to write my first book. 7 years. And some of us have been thinking about a book longer than that, others shorter than that. But 7 years. So I didn't just start writing books, all of a sudden there's 3 books in the market. It didn't happen like that. But here's the issue. The first 6 years, I was afraid of being unique. I was working at a company. I was like, if I write this book, what will people say? What will people think? If I release it on the market, will people like it? Will people buy it? And so I spent 6 years thinking about that. And then one day, my daughter walked into my office as I was dabbling with this book, and I looked up and she was 5 years old. And at that point, my entire mindset changed from, am I worthy to write this book? How am I going to write this book? To why am I writing this book? And that why was so powerful. And so if you're scared or nervous about something, think about your why. Think about your purpose. And so my daughter became my purpose. And a year later, I had written the book. I had an audio CD on the market. And I was doing speaking, which I didn't think I was going to do with my career. And here's the other thing that happens. Sorry, I got a call that came in. Here's the other thing that happens. When I released the book and somebody actually purchased it. Actually, I take that back. She didn't purchase it. I was at a meeting. I gave her a copy of the book for free. And I just said, take this book, and if you find value in it, then that's great. And so she took it. A couple weeks later, I get this email from her. And she said, Jamar, thank you so much for your book. Because I was going through so much in my life. I was struggling. I was thinking about quitting my job. She was in sales. But your book motivated me and inspired me. And it changed my life. And I'm really going to give my career a second shot. And I thought to myself, I spent 6 years preventing that from happening because the book wasn't on the market. So how many more people's lives could have been helped, could have been influenced, could have been changed if I had taken action faster and released the book a year earlier, 2 years earlier? Because there's so many people that are waiting for you to be who you are, to unleash your gifts and talents. They're waiting for you. I guarantee it. And the more you wait, the more you hide yourself, the more you hide your uniqueness, the less you're going to be able to help other people. So I don't care if it's toffee, I don't care if it's your medical practice, I don't care if it's writing a book, I don't care, whatever, a podcast, whatever it is. That's what I'm talking about. That's the power of what I'm sharing this morning.